It's time for my most important video of the year, or potentially my most important video for the next 4 years. And that's because today I'm going to be giving you a complete overview of my portfolio for 2024. I'm going to be explaining to you why I'm buying what I'm buying, the odds that I see of this bet working out, and of course, my plan to eventually sell these assets for what I hope will be a life-changing amount of money. But it's time to get real here and talk about the brass tacks. I'm going to be going into the hot narratives, gaming, AI, layer ones, and helping you pull apart and understand exactly why I believe these projects are going to win. Now, in December of 2020, I did a similar video and I called out Axie Infinity. On December 7th, 2020, the price of Axie Infinity was about 55 cents. And it went on to peak here at $160. That, my friends, is not 100x, that is a 300x. Now, beyond that, you know that I've called some of the absolute biggest, most face-melting gainers of 2023, a year in which most people told us that Bitcoin and all of crypto was going to zero.
Bitcoin will go to zero.
And we proved them wrong. In fact, I do believe that this channel has nailed it, more so than almost any other in the entire crypto space. But it's time to get real. All of this crypto stuff is a massive risk. That's why there's the potential upside for literally life-changing gains in the shortest amount of time when you compare it to any other industry. That also means that you got to be prepared for that downside. Even the best projects in this space could crash 70, 80, 90%. In fact, some of these projects are so degenerate that you must seek medical help if you want to actually buy them. Literally, the only way you'll be able to view yourself if you lose money here is with clown makeup and a wig. So if we're going to do this crypto thing, you got to put on your big boy pants. You got to take responsibility for each and every coin you buy. And most importantly, you have to have a plan. Why are you buying it? What do you believe the valuation for this asset could be? And when, at what price points will you sell this thing? Because if you can't answer those questions, you are forever going to be fish food to the sharks swimming around you in the crypto waters. Now let's talk about the first thing, which is why right now is actually really good timing. Now, Bitcoin does this thing where it goes on a 4-year cycle. It has 3 good years and then 1 terrible year. The problem is that most people get in when Bitcoin is at the apex of that one candle. They get in at the top when everybody's screaming about crypto, how they made all this money, Dogecoin millionaires, and so on and so forth. The higher Bitcoin and crypto goes in price, the more dangerous it is that it could drop in price. Of course, if you flip that around, the lower it goes, the safer it is to buy, and the more likely you are to get the good price close to the bottom. And that's why we were buying as soon as we saw some good indications out of the Fed when they stepped in and started saving banks in March. That's when we hopped in here and said, hey, look, I think that these bailouts are going to create more liquidity and form a bottom. I think the bleed is over and it's time to start allocating, even though it feels uncomfortable. And it will feel uncomfortable even in these bull runs. There are crazy dips. As my buddy Alex Becker would say, my co-founder in Neo Tokyo, this is a chart you're going to see everywhere where you see the massive sell-offs that happened all the way up during the 2017 rally. The fact is that bull runs are actually the time to buy the dip. Bear markets are where you sell the rally. If you think about it, the overall trend is up, so you want to buy as it comes down because you know it's going to go back up, or at least you have a good idea that the trend will continue. Remember, the trend is your friend. And the same is true of the bear market. While things are macro going down, you want to sell them as they rally up because that's your chance to get out at a good price. Now, I wanted to add in here that Bitcoin is now in a dip, and the whole market has pretty much taken a massive dip. Well, not every coin, of course. Beam and Immutable X are still crushing it, but most of the coins here have taken a bit of a dip. There's plenty of coins in the red here over the last few days, and honestly, it's kind of popping up right now. So it's at 42,000. If it gets back above this $43,000 mark or so, if it gets back above this 42.5 or specifically above 43, 44, this dip is over, right? This is going to new highs for the year. What I want to impress upon you is this. Dips are effectively the thing that you'll want. You don't want to just be chasing when things are up, and away. That might feel like the best time to invest. It certainly is the most exciting. But what you really want to wait for are the times that it's not exciting again. So if this dip gets worse, goes down into the 30s or so, maybe even the low 30s, that would not be the end of times. Now, it would be very concerning if we go below, 31,000 or 32,000. That is a very sensitive area and might signal a much more difficult time for Bitcoin ahead, or really all of crypto. But in the case of right now, anything above 32,000 to me is a massive, massive opportunity if it comes down. And the more uncomfortable it gets, the more the bears come out of their caves and start screaming, it was all a dream. This was the biggest bull trap in the history of the world. Well, that to me, my friends, is the time that I'll be looking to smash the buy button. But again, I'm not doing too much right now. I've been buying throughout 2023, and so I'm pretty well positioned here coming into 2024. But I hope this video helps you out a lot, and back to the analysis. So the point is, right now, we are still in this 3 candle, which is right before the 2 most parabolic years, the 2 best years of the Bitcoin cycle. That is, if the cycle is to continue to play out the way it worked before. Now, a lot of people don't believe in this cycle stuff, but get this. You want to see something crazy? From the all-time low in 2015 to the all-time high in 2017, it was exactly 1,064 days. From the all-time high in 2017 to the all-time low in 2018, it was exactly 364 days. From all-time low in 2018 to all-time high in 2021, 1,064 days, again, exactly the time from low to high. And then once again, from all-time high in November of 2021 to all-time low in November of 2022, 364 days. Honestly, some things are stranger than fiction, and Bitcoin very well might be one of those. Maybe we're all in a simulation. Maybe this is all some collective delusion. Maybe there are no coins at all. What I do know is that as long as this Bitcoin cycle continues to show itself and prove itself out, as it has once again in 2023, I feel like I would be a damn fool not to bet hard on the industry that I log into and talk about and obsess over every single day. So that's what I'm doing. But make no mistake, this is risky business, and everything you buy into could be manipulated, crash. The founders could end up not being honorable or doing the right thing. The code could get hacked. Stuff is very, very risky. And you assume a 70 to 100% loss whenever you buy anything in this crypto space. The trade-off here is you're trading a 70% downside for a potential 1,000 or 10,000% upside. That's 10 to 100x upside versus a near total loss. Those are better odds than you're gonna get in Vegas almost any day of the week. And for that reason, I'm all in on crypto, gambling to make my life better. And if you're here in crypto right now, watching a video like this, you need to slam down some hard to swallow pills and understand that you're gambling too. Well, to be fair, we all need to gamble. That's what the fiat system forces us to do, because your money turns to dust in your wallet. Your labor is not worth anything anymore. We need to gamble in stocks, in real estate, in assets of some kind if you want to get ahead. And to me, crypto is the one that I know, and it's the one that I think is the most generous and most likely to help people achieve financial freedom. So I'm gambling here. And with that said, let's get to my portfolio for 2024. Of course, we should add that Michael Saylor, the biggest bull on Wall Street, believes Bitcoin will hit a $350,000 price in 2024. Now, that would mean that Bitcoin is about 10x from here. Of course, what we saw over the last one was Bitcoin went about 3x over its prior all-time high. Now, if Bitcoin goes to 350K, that would mean it would do a 5x over its prior all-time high, whereas last cycle, it did about a 3.5x over its prior all-time high. So it's going way higher. And that would mean that what we'd see out of total 3, meaning the altcoins, would probably be even more dramatic, right? We saw a gain here of total 3, which went from about 300 billion up to 1.3 trillion. This was about a 212% gain, or almost a 3x out of the altcoins. Now, if we go 50% more, that means we could see about a 4x out of the altcoins from prior all-time high. And that would mean altcoins alone would be at $4.5 trillion. Not to mention you add in Bitcoin and ETH, and you have crypto scratching its head on nearly $10 trillion in market value. That, my friends, is the size of gold. And that, my friends, is a whole new ball game, as they would say. And as always, I solicited the community. I said, I'm doing my 2024 portfolio video this week. What coin should I include? And I literally, in a few hours, got almost 1,000 responses, and they were really bad. They were terrible. I am not taking advice from you guys ever again. I don't know what you're trying to do to me, but please, God, stop trying to give me alpha, because it is not working. Anyway, back to the show. All right, let's get into it. This is going to be a complete breakdown of the 2024 portfolio, and I'm not going to give you exact percentage size of these tokens, but I'm going to give you a general idea on how I'm organizing my portfolio as a whole, and then I'm going to give you the actual products within each category. And this is going to be an absolutely monstrous amount of information. So get ready, smash that like button, and make sure you're subscribed with the bell notification on Each video we've come out with over the past few weeks, I've been trying to make sure that they are so loaded with information that they are effectively unmissable, okay? The first one where we started doing this was 185K views. We're gonna have our first video hit 200K views in what feels like years. I'm sure it has been. And every single video here, I've been pouring my heart and soul into making sure that they are jam-packed with alpha. So make sure you put the bell notification on, because everything I put out on this channel going forward will be, in my opinion, required viewing. You absolutely must watch this stuff if you want to be ahead of crypto. No channel is covering these niches and these movements like I am, and I'm giving this all to you for free, and I'm trying to make sure that I don't waste any of your time here. So hit that bell notification and you will be, in my opinion, way ahead of everyone else. But again, as I go through these coins, I want to be very clear. I will explain my logic as to why I like these coins. But in the end, this community is getting so big and so many people know about the strength of this community that inevitably, if you're following the coins here only on this list, then you're always going to be late. I want you to take the ideas here, the mental models of how I'm finding and analyzing coins in this market, which I explain in detail, and I want you to apply them on your own. And that way you can be ahead instead of buying a YouTuber coin like I'm gonna be covering here. It's gonna allow you to get ahead of everyone else, but only if you do these things and do the hard work on your own. With that said, I hope this information helps you. Now, starting at the top, we have Solana, okay? This is a risk ranking. And by the way, you see my Technicolored risk ranking chart here. Again, this is completely made up, right? I'm just trying to give you a sense here of where the bigger risks are. Blue chips and the medium highs, those are just going to be lower gains. There's still a ton of risk in those coins, right? Everything has risk in this industry. Could get sued by the government. Founder could die. You never know. Crazy world. A lot of smells. Anything could happen, okay? But anyway, enough of that. Solana, you guys know my thesis here. Solana is the best competitor to Ethereum, and everything in the Solana ecosystem has gone bananas. I started giving you guys Solana in the teens and the low 20s, and it has absolutely crushed it. It peaked, I think, at about $75. I'm just calling my ET call here 17, though I know I talked about it around the 13 range. I just think I was more forceful around the $17 range. And so the gains so far are 321% or 4.21x's. And the downside, and this is how I'm calculating this, the downside is the 2023 low. So the low value in 2023, I don't think the market goes and revisits those. I think that's a hard bottom. And so my logic is your downside in this category is effectively the current value, and that is divided by the 2023 low divided by the current value. And that allows you to see effectively how low you could go if we revisit those lows, which is possible, right? If there's some apocalyptic scenario and Bitcoin just shreds through 32K and everything turns out to be a massive bull trap and Capo was right, well, I guess this is possible, right? We could go revisit those 2023 lows. So I'm just showing you your max downside. But just know, essentially Solana has taken on this super blue chip status. As a testament to that, projects like Jito, which are essentially like Lido or Flashbots in the Solana ecosystem, are being valued at multi-billion dollars. It's $3 billion FDV for a project like Jito, which arguably might be seen as too much too soon. But it just shows you how significant the Solana ecosystem is, that people are valuing the coins in the Solana ecosystem as equal to their Ethereum counterparts. And that's a massive narrative. So like I said, I'll be rotating profits from trades into Solana as part of my strategy. And that is one that I keep getting laughed at in the YouTube comments. So if you want to keep laughing at me, go ahead. I appreciate it. Every time I've been laughed at and mocked for my choices that I'm making publicly here for you all, it's turned out to be a massive moneymaker. So reply, guys, eat your heart out, because you are my best indicator that I'm doing something right. I know it's a hard pill to swallow, but we have a lot of coins to get through, so we are gonna start getting through them. The second one is Chainlink. Again, Chainlink is one of the most important protocols in the entire space. They're integrating with Swift. That's right, the banking Swift. They are one of the most legitimate ways to communicate between chains and protocols. If you have DEXs that are feeding in prices, well, they're using an Oracle, and that is coming in through Chainlink. Chainlink is effectively part of most, if not all, of DeFi, and it is a blue chip by all standards. Again, blue chips, they have a potential for maybe a 10x or so from here, maybe a 15x in a very good situation, but they're also lower risk. They're not going to dump as fast. They have much more significant holder bases, and Chainlink is definitely a bluey blue chip to have on your radar. It's part of my portfolio. And if you want a more passive portfolio, things like Solana and Chainlink are definitely in that lower crypto risk, almost guaranteed to be here for the next several years, if not on into the future. Next, we have Coinbase. As you know, I'm a big bull on Coinbase stock. After the fall of CZ and FTX, they are the last man standing, and they are the white knight of crypto, publicly listed on the stock market. I've been aping Coinbase like a madman since about $60 here. $65 is when I covered it on the channel, and that would mean that we're about 2.1x over my call. And I keep adding to my Coinbase position just because it's really easy to do from my bank. I have sort of my fiat and crypto worlds separated, and it's a really nice, easy thing to do that I've been rotating out of my treasury bills and into Coinbase stock largely from my treasury bills. And it's been an insane play. I also think Coinbase is a blue chip in that it's not going to do more than a 10x here. In fact, if it hits $1,000, I would be kind of mind blown. I think that that's possible in like a total blow off top, but really I'm just hoping it makes new highs around $500 to $1,000 at the end of the cycle in 2025. That would be a blessing, and I think that that is a peak price for Coinbase. This is the only stock you're going to see here, but it trades like a crypto. So of course, if you want something more passive, these are things you can just buy and know they're going to be here years from now and probably going to grow with the cycle. Now we get into something a little more spicy, which is Avalanche. As you guys know, I've been a big Avalanche bull throughout the years. I was first on AVAX in 2021. I was one of the first YouTubers to bring AVAX and the AVAX ecosystem coins like Joe and some other crazy ones to the frame here. Joe's like the Uniswap of Avalanche. Again, Avalanche is to me the next in line after Solana as far as hyped layer one ecosystems. And it is slightly off a blue chip. It's not a blue chip, it's a medium risk. And just to show you here, it's been tracking actually the gains of Solana really, really well. If you look here, Sol is about 73% off its high. Avalanche, through most of the markets, about 74% off its all-time high. It was almost identical in its percent drawdown from all-time high for the entirety of the bear market. And so these two will probably make their way up to all-time high in a similar fashion. And if you really study the actual movements, Avalanche is a really interesting EVM tech. Again, the layer one ecosystem has a ton of competition. There are so many chains now, but I just think there's some muscle memory in the charts here because Solana, Luna, and AVAX were like the trio of 2021. Obviously, Luna nuked and doesn't really exist anymore, but Solana and AVAX, when Solana makes a really big run, AVAX seems to want to play catch up. And look, what is a medium risk goated L1 if you don't have Polygon? Now, Polygon markets itself as a layer 2, but it really kind of in practice is a layer 1, though they are starting to connect the dots here with their CDK, right? So they have this chain development kit where they effectively allow people to launch their own ZK EVMs. Now, this is very next gen, and it's in fact the technology that underpins the newest initiative from Immutable X, which is of course also on this list and a project that we'll talk about shortly. But together, this is part of the three-headed dragon of gaming. And Polygon is beyond that. It's also really good tech. And I know this from my developer friends, which throughout 2021 really didn't like the technology that underpinned Polygon. They've made big strides. And in my opinion, their ZK tech has started to become best in class and really next gen. So it's something to consider that Polygon and their technology keeps evolving. And they're about to evolve from the Matic token to the Pol token, again, showing their firm transition to ZK rollup technology. This is something to keep your eyes on, and I have no reason to believe that Polygon won't have a massive run in 2024 with the rest of the market. Again, this thing went on 300x. It was trading between 1 and 5 cents when I was covering it like crazy in 2019 and 2020, and in 2021, it went on its hallowed run up to $3. It's pretty insane. Next one up is Injective, and in this case, you want to trust the strength of the chart. Look at this. This is one of the best performing assets of the entire market and one of the few that has actually broken its prior all-time high. You can see its prior all-time high was about 24 bucks here, and today it is sitting at $26. This is the way that you understand that strength begets strength. And obviously we've talked about Injective. In fact, we were one of the first people to cover Injective at the beginning of the 2021 run. At the end of 2020, we covered Injective at 70 cents. I actually participated in the early token sale and was able to get tokens at 70 cents here, and we rode this thing up as a community up to $22. Absolutely astronomical. But look, it takes a very special type of team to be one of the first to overcome your prior highs in the new cycle. And this chart is screaming that it wants to remain strong. So again, Injective is a DeFi protocol that is part of the Cosmos ecosystem, and you'd be a fool to fade this kind of strength in a new cycle. Next, we have Celestia. Now, Celestia is like a nerd's paradise. Again, in the Cosmos ecosystem, both of these they are their own layer ones. And again, I put them as medium high because they are newer kids on the block. They are not as established as Avalanche. They are not as established as Polygon. They do not have as many fundamentals driving them. In fact, Celestia is brand new and trading like an absolute beast. But at the same time, I think Celestia's tech is very exciting to people, and the strength of its chart simply cannot be denied. I mean, essentially, it doesn't really know how to take a dip. It's absolutely crazy. Obviously, we talked about it here at about $4. I had people talking to me about it at $2, but I missed that move. And as you can see, the strength is just undeniable. Even when Bitcoin had this dip, it just exploded upwards. It shows you that there's true demand here for Celestia. Some additional alpha here is that I'm hearing that there's going to be a ton of Celestia airdrops. So if you're staking Celestia, you'll get a ton of these projects that are launching on Celestia, essentially giving you free tokens, airdrops. So if you're staking the TIA coin, then you could be eligible for some airdrops. Again, this is all early alpha, but in addition, they have a 16% APR. So you stake, you get some Celestia rewards, and then you get some free tokens on top of it. If this thing moons like crazy, it could be one of the gigabrain plays of the cycle. I'm certainly hoping it is. Now, the last one is Internet Computer. And what's crazy about this chart is I don't think I've seen a worse looking chart in my whole life. Like, it is easily the worst looking chart of all charts. However, that is actually kind of a benefit. When you zoom in, you realize that almost all their tokens are in market, right? They have a total supply of 510. They have 450 circulating. That's like, I don't know, 80 or 90% there. And so there's not a lot of inflation. And this thing went through this crazy, crazy dump where effectively everyone got mad and sold and its reputation went down. But meanwhile, they kept developing stuff. And it's got this decentralized storage play that I actually think makes it slightly different than other layer ones. It's not directly competing with the likes of Sol and stuff. Who knows? Anyway, I have some Internet Computer in my portfolio because I think there's a chance. And if you see here, it hasn't pumped very much. Its low was like $3. It's up at like 5.6. It's not even 2x off its lows. And get this, the all-time high was $700, right? It's sitting here at $5. That's literally more than 100x. It's over 99% down from its all-time high. So if it does go back and tickle its all-time high, which I think of as absolutely absurd, it probably won't do that. Well, it's just like, there's just a lot of room for this thing to go. These are the charts that if they get going could mean business if they get serious. Again, I have a very small amount of my portfolio, but I figured it was worth a bet in case this thing does wake up. Next, there's a project called Monad. It is not released yet. It's in my unreleased, and I just gave it a risk because I don't really know what the risk is because I don't know what the price is. Risk is heavily correlated to price. If you don't know what the price is, you can't determine the risk. But anyway, this is an up and coming project that a lot of people are hyped about. And I would not be shocked if this thing ends up catching some serious hype waves if we do get this bull run that we're all really hoping for. This is one to have on your list. Definitely go ahead and follow it. The next is Layer 0. Again, this is going to be one of the biggest coins in the whole ecosystem, and you can actually likely qualify for their airdrop if you're using their Stargate Finance DeFi application, which allows you to bridge assets between different chains. I highly encourage you to understand what Layer 0 is, as this is likely to be one of the biggest token launches in the whole industry coming up soon. Shout out to the Layer 0 team because I've actually been collaborating with them on some other stuff. Again, stuff that will be announced in 2024. Now, I want to be clear, those are like the big coins. Those are the big pieces of tech out here that I want you to be aware of. And most of those are lower risk and will have most likely pretty muted rewards. We're not talking about 100x's here. Like if Celestia goes 100x, it would be worth like a quadrillion dollars. That's not going to happen. Those are maybe 10 to 20x plays at the max, but probably some of them will be closer to 5x plays. In my opinion, having too much of your crypto portfolio tied up in 5x plays feels like a waste. That's my particular approach. And to explain this in a little more depth, I'm breaking out my portfolio breakdown, which is in the end, I have a lot of money in treasuries, which I'm actually rotating quite a bit of money out of there because I believe interest rates have peaked and that risk is going to be the new thing to allocate towards. That's my particular approach. But in the end, I have what's called a crypto barbell, where on one side of the barbell, I have lower risk stuff I know is going to be there for a very long time. Stuff like Bitcoin, stuff like Coinbase stock, stuff that I don't need to wake up in the middle of the night sweating and think, has it all gone to zero? Has it all just evaporated into dust? Yes, this is the high conviction long-term bucket. And in that high conviction long-term bucket, we have Bitcoin, we have Ethereum, we have Solana, and we have Coinbase stock. And that bucket actually has been updated because Coinbase has been ripping, Solana has been absolutely ripping, and this is how my long-term conviction bucket looks now. I'm actually rotating profits whenever I do take them into Solana. That's my personal approach. Again, I might rotate profits into some other exotic L1 if I get really carried away, but this is my general plan. I'm gonna try to stick to my plan as much as I can. It's also really important to make plans and write them down because the emotion of the market will carry you off into la la land if you let it. And if you write stuff down, you can at least sober up for a second and pull yourself out of the psychedelic bull run acid trip that has long since left planet Earth, and you're contemplating whether a dog coin on Butthole Chain can be worth $10 trillion because you saw a TikToker made a TikTok about it, and you're just wondering what the point of life is because you haven't talked to your friends in months and you stare at a screen all day trading crypto coins. That's what the bull run's like, all right? You lose your goddamn marbles. So keep it together, all right? Keep it together and write stuff down. All right, a little break from the video here because if you're new to crypto, you need to have a VPN. And that's why I'm extremely proud to partner with NordVPN and be one of their leading partners in the whole crypto space. Because if you don't have a VPN, you're literally like a lamb to the slaughter here. Your IP address will start showing up on crypto sites, which even though the blockchain is secure, those sites could be compromised. And your IP address, effectively, you could become a target. So you want to make sure that you avoid that situation with a product that only costs $3 per month. But what's great is you get a massive discount if you use my link below. Again, I was hacked a few months ago, and so I take cybersecurity extremely seriously. Like I've said many times before, you can be forgiven for a lot of mistakes in crypto. A lot of them are understandable. In fact, even OGs make mistakes. But one thing you will not be forgiven for is not having a VPN. It's so cheap, it's so easy, and best of all, it supports the channel, and I appreciate you guys. So check out NordVPN, sponsor of today's video, and let's get back to some good old-fashioned crypto coins. Back to the point here. I personally think that the zero infinity bucket is worth allocating to. Now, I personally think the zero infinity bucket has odds that in a bull run makes sense because in a bull run, if Bitcoin continues to grow, usually altcoins will continue to grow, especially early on in the bull run. And quite frankly, the risk if Bitcoin doesn't continue to grow is it could drop dramatically. I mean, Bitcoin's up 3x on the year. So, I mean, the thing could drop like 70% and still only be touching its 2023 low. That, my friends, is a huge amount of downside. But if your upside is, somewhat limited compared to the 100x opportunities out there, and those 100x opportunities are likely to hold and grow if Bitcoin holds and grows, then to me, the crazy bull run logic is you want to be allocated in some way to these altcoins, the zero infinity bucket, knowing that it goes to zero or the damn moon and you're comfortable with the odds of it doing one or the other and you're ready for either outcome. That's where I'm at. Again, make your own decisions. I have enough fiat currency. I have enough cash in my world that if my crypto goes to zero, I'll keep eating, I'll keep surviving, and my life won't be changed. Obviously, it would suck ass, but I would still continue to live and survive and pay rent. A lot of people aren't in that same boat. So you have to make the decisions based on your own financial decisions. I'm not going to be there to pay your rent or to feed your kids if you can't do it. You got to take care of your own shit. Period. Okay, so let's get to the fun stuff. Okay, Beam/Merit Circle. Again, they were called Merit Circle. I covered them at about 40 cents and they've shot up here to what was the equivalent of $2. But when they did a 1-to-100 split on Beam, now the price is reflected. You can think of this as 0.0043 or something like that. So they've done about a 4.4x since I covered them. Absolutely smoking those gains. And they are one of the most important coins in the crypto gaming space. They have a ton of investments. They have a treasury of nearly $100 million. They are actively invested in some of the best games in the space, and they are now partnered with Immutable X to bring some cool technology to the Immutable X ZK EVM. Speaking of Immutable X, they are also on this list. As you know, I'm an Immutable X seed investor. I'm a massive investor in Beam, and I have huge bags of both of these tokens. And I am so happy to see them climbing the ranks with absolutely reckless abandon here. And I have no reason to doubt that they will continue to grow as gaming continues to grow. My hope is that Immutable X becomes the first gaming token to crack the top 10 in crypto market caps. And just for some perspective here, it's at $2.6 billion market cap. The top 10 is 13 here. So it would have to 5 or 6x from here to overcome the Doge. And to me, that would have to do that, against the market. So this would take a massive gaming run, but I don't think it's insane. I think it might happen here. And if it does happen, then that might mean that Beam becomes a top 25 coin or something like that. Again, understanding that crypto is about categories, niches, storylines, and if one coin from a category makes it astronomically high, the entire category will reprice under it. So the higher immutable goes, that creates a higher ceiling for the rest of the gaming ecosystem to flourish in. So as a massive gaming bull, I'm very excited that Immutable X is continuing to crush on the way up, and that to me paves the way. It blazes a trail for all of gaming to reprice under it. So as you see Immutable X make this massive run, know that it's bullish for all of gaming. That's the facts. Gala, as we've said, they are a publisher. They have several games and they had a massive destructive run down from their all-time high. Their all-time high was like 70 cents. They're currently at 3 here. So on their way back up, if they are to make it back up, could do astronomical gains. Again, their downside is about 60%. They haven't pumped too hard here. As you can see, these other ones have pumped much harder. They're up much more significantly, but about 2.1x since we called it here on the channel. Ronin, again, similar to Gala, they have some games, far less games here. Like Immutable has like hundreds of games that are coming to the Immutable X chain, but Ronin has Axie Infinity, which was the most successful crypto game of all time. And they also have now Pixels Online, which has 400,000 active users. Now, the thing about the Ronin ecosystem is it caters largely, they have a huge Filipino player base. And so there's a lot of emerging economy dynamics going on there, but it is a very interesting and totally unique way to approach gaming. And again, there's a lot of different approaches here. I'm not playing gatekeeper. I'm just saying, here's all the pieces. And as you can see, Ronin has performed pretty well of about 3.4x since we covered it on the channel. And that has a lot, I think, to do with Pixels Online, which is this game that has a ton of active users right now. Again, very few games on Ronin. There's a few games on Gala. There's quite a few games that are connected with Beam, actually launching on its subnet, as well as dozens and dozens of investments by the Merit Circle DAO. And then you have Immutable X, which is kind of like the big daddy gaming coin, which we hope breaks into the top 10. Next, we have DeFi. As you know, DeFi is a launch pad. These launch pads, as the market gets super hot, again, if we are to get this raging bull market, launch pads will go bananas. They will go absolutely crazy because they will give you early access to tokens before they hit the market, and token launches in a bull market can go absolutely dummy high. I'm talking 10, 20, 50, 100x, 200x and more in the peak heat of the bull market. And so if you get into the launch pads, you can actually buy allocations to these new projects, sometimes just $500, sometimes a few $1,000s. But if things go 20x, 50x, and you instantly have those tokens, you can flip and make 20K, 50K, sometimes even more in single days. And that is the magic of launch pads, but it only works during peak bull season. So again, DeFi is kind of the leading gaming launch pad. I have a ton of DeFi tokens. I covered them first at 60 cents here. And so you're looking at almost a 6x since I covered them. Again, you are welcome, Team EllioTrades. If you guys have been rocking with the channel here in 2023, you know this has been probably the best content streak I've ever been on. And I only intend to keep pushing harder because getting bullish early in the cycle is lower risk, whereas getting bullish at the ultimate peak is the higher risk. And I personally hope I can get the most amount of people excited about this market at an early stage when most coins are probably going to do well, as opposed to at the end of a cycle when most coins are set up to absolutely implode. That is the best way to do it. And I hope this content helps the maximum amount of people. But again, it's not a team sport here. You all got to understand it is you and you alone out there in the crypto markets once you choose to buy some coins. Next, we got Prime. Again, this is one of the most legit trading card games here in the space. You have a $1.19 2023 low, and their current value is almost $9. These guys are backed by A16Z. They're super duper legit. And in my opinion, this could be one of the highest performing gaming tokens of the cycle. I'm definitely a big fan of what they're doing here, and I hope they continue to crush it. As you can see, their fully diluted valuation here is almost $1 billion. So they only have a small amount of their tokens circulating, like less than 30% of their tokens circulating. So it really is a tiny circulating market cap, and there will be token emissions here, something to consider. But they are one of the most advanced ecosystems, and they definitely deserve a slot in anyone's gaming portfolio. Once again, my philosophy on gaming is that it will eventually create mainstream hits. The industry will continue to have some of the most attention and excitement surrounding it, and when anything succeeds in gaming, the rest of the tokens will get a lot of love. So that's why I'm hyper focused on gaming, because as a niche, I'm convinced it's going to succeed, and its success will mean that focusing and distributing my bets within that niche, in my opinion, are most likely to succeed. Next, we have NeoTokyo. Now, this is a project that is mine. Obviously, there are 3 projects here that I have founded, and I cannot comment on for that reason. I cannot tell you how risky they are or talk about prices or anything like that as a founder. But what I can tell you is that NeoTokyo has almost certainly fulfilled its highest aspiration of becoming the crypto gaming Illuminati, the networking club where the power brokers of crypto gaming come to intermingle, to share knowledge, to build stuff, to launch stuff. And that's why tons of projects want to actually launch to the NeoTokyo holders. In this case, Immutable X has recently joined. Literally every gaming project here is a part of NeoTokyo almost. And it is very much so the place to be if you are a power broker in crypto gaming. Community members have created all kinds of projects. One community member actually created a launchpad. Again, this is not owned or controlled in any way by NeoTokyo or me or Becker. But like DeFi, someone created a launchpad so that citizens could get access to projects before they launch, and projects oftentimes choose to want to come to NeoTokyo because they want these holders, these diamond hands, these power brokers to be a part of their projects. And that's why NeoTokyo has been so successful, is it is an absolutely phenomenal experiment that has succeeded in every way of becoming the networking club of Web3 gaming. Now, Imposters is the game of the Superverse. Now, I do want to be very clear. The best advice I can give you is to go put the bell notification on for Superverse, just like this. Make sure that it's turned on, because Superverse will be shedding its skin and revealing an entirely new phase of the project that is very much so the connecting fiber between everything that you see in front of you in the crypto gaming space. There's no doubt that this community is the biggest and most powerful in the crypto gaming space. I've been spreading the good word about crypto gaming since 2018. I don't want to ruin this reveal because we've been working really hard on it, but all I can say is turn post notifications on Superverse and understand that as hard as you see me working on content, as much as you see me getting ahead of these trends in the industry year after year, week after week, month after month, year after year, cycle after cycle, I'm putting far more effort, orders of magnitude more into these projects, and you'll soon see the fruits of those labors. Now, to be clear, Imposters is currently an NFT form, and the studio behind Imposters has recently hired an absolute legend in the form of Rick Ellis. I highly encourage you to watch this interview where Rick Ellis, the new head of Imposters, actually explains why he's so bullish on Web3 gaming and his plan to take Imposters mainstream. Again, these projects are my primary focus, and if you believe in what I'm doing, then all I ask you to do is turn your notifications on for those projects, because there is a lot coming in 2024 that you cannot see. And if I'm right about this crypto cycle being the one which crypto gaming breaks through to the mainstream, well, there's a whole lot in store for these projects that you can't even imagine. Next, this is actually the first project that I'm going to put on here that's unreleased. This is called Treeverse. And when it comes to unreleased projects, I want to be completely clear. The hype before the release is totally damaging to the project. And you do not, if you're not one of the early investors, you do not want to be buying these projects right out of the gate. Almost all new token projects during the bull run come out at astronomical prices. They tend to pump and dump, and you want to kind of stay away from them until they dump like crazy. But again, that depends on when they come out and when the tokens release. But I will, for your understanding, just put these on your radar. And I'm not going to talk too much about them because I don't want to create any artificial hype about them. But I just want you to know that these are projects that are coming next year that I think are ones you should be researching. And understanding token launches are very, very tumultuous, and you should definitely be careful when you get into any new token and understand the 360 view. Treeverse, Gunzilla, Ready Games, Pixels Online, and I'll also add in Heroes of Mavia here. Again, these are all super high quality gaming projects. I've invested into most of them, not all of them. And again, I'll follow up with more information when the time is relevant, but I'm making a 2024 video. I want you guys to know what I'm thinking about for 2024. Next, we have Shrapnel. Shrapnel is one of the hottest gaming tokens. They have one of the sickest looking games. They're competing in the big show, which is first-person shooters. And they have their own subnet on Avalanche. I certainly hope that they succeed in their mission. Again, any game succeeding is good for all of the games, and I'm very hyped on what they're doing. Definitely part of my 2024 portfolio. Next, Big Time. Again, I never put calls on Shrapnel and Big Time, so I just have NA here. But again, Big Time and Shrapnel are two of the best looking games in the industry right now. Big Time is one that is very interesting because if you're actually farming within the game, you can play an MMORPG and players are making up to 6 figures over the last few months farming their big time tokens. It is something that probably won't last forever. So if you're looking to spend some time and grind a game and maybe end up earning some crazy amounts of tokens, I highly suggest you check out Big Time. And of course we have Sidus. Again, I've covered Sidus in depth. They're adding a launchpad. They burnt a ton of their supply. They have tons of games in their ecosystem and they are up almost 10 full X's since we covered them here on the channel. Absolutely smoky, no jokey gains here out of Sidus. Their goal is to focus on browser gameplay, totally democratized, no fancy chips required, and they believe that the casual gaming route is the way to onboard billions of users. Again, everyone has their own strategy. Some games are going for immersive AAA, like you're seeing with Gunzilla, like you're seeing with Shrapnel, like you're seeing with Illuvium, another one that's on my list for 2024. I don't know why it's not here. Some are going for more casual games like Sidus, mobile games like Mavia or Wagme. And then you also have more economic games like you saw out of Axie Infinity, and you're seeing the same thing out of Pixels Online. Next, I'm just going to be real. This risk rating, again, the risk rating for all the ones in yellow is high. That means, you could have a 20 to 50x, but you could see a 90% correction. This is big risk, right? The medium highs, you're seeing maybe a 15x or an 80% correction. Mediums, you have a 75% correction and a 12x. You just have to understand the risk scale here. And again, this is not very sciencey. I just literally pulled these numbers out. Again, this is like astrology for men here. Embrace it. We're just looking to the stars, but we're hoping that we get something right. I've gotten a lot right over the years. It doesn't mean that I have special powers, okay? I'm just a dude with a webcam and this bright light and a neon sign and a pudgy penguin toy, okay? Speaking of the memes, I told you I only have 2 meme positions, that is Pepe and Bonk, and since I said that, Bonk has gone on such a ripper. It's up 3.16x, and rumor has it it's going to get listed on Coinbase. Again, this is proof that the Solana ecosystem is absolutely on fire, okay? Absolutely on fire. Pepe, I still think, is the danker meme by so many orders of magnitudes. I'm hoping that the frog gets its legs under it and has like a Dogecoin moment at some point in the future. I don't know. I could be wrong. It's still up a bit here from where I called it, only 37%. Not crazy here, but it's up, right? It's up. We don't turn our noses up at gains here. Not after a 3-year bear market. We do not turn our noses up at gains, even small gains. Now, the other thing that is a strategy here, and this is so degenerate, this is seek medical help degenerate. This is you need to see a doctor, okay? You need to see a doctor if you're doing this. There's something wrong with you. But if you do want this level of 100x, 200x gains from buying literal abysmal meme coins, then what you want to do is look for the alternate L1s like Avalanche, like Cosmos ecosystem chains. And you want to see when they create their leading meme coins, if you're early to those, you could maybe ride on a real rocket ride here. And so that's the degen next level stuff, is buying meme coins that are not goated like Pepe and Bonk. Those ones are so absurdly risky, it's not even worth discussing here. You really just need help. You need help. You need Jesus. Next, we have the AI niche, and I'm telling you guys, my main focus here is Akash. I have my own validator on Akash, so you can delegate to it. It's called EllioTrades New. Go ahead and delegate towards it. I think Akash is doing something that almost nobody is. They're allowing for subletting of GPU power. Again, AI will continue to make massive news throughout this cycle. Every few months, there's a new AI explosion of interest and excitement and drama that will continue driving crazy amounts of attention, excitement, and investment into AI crypto coins. And that means that things like Akash, which allow you to lease computing power, which is the driver of AI right now, compute power is what this is all about. Things like Akash will potentially become massive focuses going forward. There's also BitTensor, that's kind of like the leading one. I don't have a big bag of it because it literally doesn't know how to dip. It's just been going absolutely bananas. It literally will not dip. But I do think that if cool apps start launching on top of BitTensor, the Tau token, that could be something to look for. Again, Akash is something I've been holding for years. I believe they'll continue to crush it. And if I were to say so, it's my favorite AI coin. I don't have a ton of AI coins, but I do believe AI and gaming will be the driving narratives of this bull run. Onward. If you're looking for a little something extra, there's dexes like DYDX, okay? I could see Americans getting frustrated not having access to futures trading because none of the exchanges let Americans on anymore. So decentralized futures like DYDX could become interesting. Again, it doesn't pump very hard, but I think their new version of their protocol, which shares fees, is quite interesting. For me, the NFT play, besides obviously Neo Tokyo and Imposters, the NFT play that is most likely to pull a Bored Ape this cycle is Pudgy Penguins. And that's because Luca Netz, the CEO, is an absolute beast. I'm a friend of his, and I think his vision is going to take him somewhere crazy. So if there's a next NFT that is Pudgy Penguins, you're looking at, to me, the only thing I see as a PFP project that could hit 100 ETH plus, I think Pudgy Penguins would be that crazy one. Again, they've traded as low as 4 ETH this year. They're up quite a bit, but they just keep delivering. And they recently previewed this Pudgy World concept, which to me screams that they're making a video game and that they will transition from being a consumer packaged goods project to being a video game project, which to me is giga bullish because gaming to me is the thing I believe in the most. Next, if we're talking about ways that you can enhance your 2024 portfolio, you're going to want to look at rotations. This is when certain ecosystems like Solana, AVAX, Cosmos, whenever they get hot, you'll see the coins within those ecosystems get hot. Again, I don't know what those coins are. I'm not bringing attention to any of them in specific, but let's just say you didn't want to do gaming for some reason, or you didn't want to do AI, you wanted to play in specific ecosystems, this is one way to do it. I'll end here with finally 2 DeFi plays, one of which I was an early investor into called Prisma. I personally think Prisma will have a really nice future. Again, I'm an early investor. I plan to hold those tokens for a significant amount of time and see how the project performs. It's still pretty under the radar as well. This is in the liquid staking token narrative where you can stake your staked ETH and get additional yield on top. Very interesting project, as well as Rune, which allows you to do on-chain swaps between things like Ethereum and Bitcoin. I think Rune is kind of in its own category. So Prisma and Rune are the 2 that I like for DeFi if I was to pick a DeFi coin. Whew. Okay, this raw video file is now almost an hour and 10 minutes. If you guys feel like I delivered a tremendous amount of value for this 2024 portfolio overview, the way I've gone through and explained why I'm in each one of these coins, the risks involved, the upside, the downside, the left side, the right side, then smash that like button and make sure you subscribe with that bell notification on. I believe that this is going to be one of the most incredible cycles we've ever seen. But of course, there is a risk it doesn't play out. If it does, however, I'm confident that gaming will be the most transformative place to be. And I'm excited to continue to show you the light throughout this journey. If I missed your favorite token, you know what to do. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, check out this one that I made just a few days ago, which goes even into more detail on some altcoins that I love. As always, I'm EllioTrades, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.